Cracking my knuckles. And I come here, and I go here, and then I scroll like this until my thing pops up and tells me that my shit's live. You sushi. Here we are. Share, because I got to do marketing and such like that. Post it. Cool. Well, this is going to be an interesting one, I think. Is it? Long story short, it is food and the warrior's mindset. I know. Got a picture of a woolly mammoth and some cave people trying to eat the woolly mammoth. Got to think about how crazy that concept was way back in the day. Come on now. Got a big old picture of woolly mammoth and cave people. That is the story of food in a nutshell. Got to kind of figure out that cave people long time ago, and I know microphone's all the way over here. Least professional live stream there be. Think about how risky it was to kill a woolly mammoth with spears in a day and an age when the best options you had were stone and a stick, and maybe not even stone. Maybe you couldn't afford a sharp stone. Maybe you could afford a sharp stick. And that's what we were doing to get our food. Take that, vegans. Ooh, you just grow your stuff. Yeah, we were still trying to kill woolly mammoths with spears and shit. That big old hide, that thick ass hide, the extra thick fur. Yep. Veganism was a totally viable option. Welcome to Do Musashi on a Weekend. Today it is Do Not Pursue the Taste of Good Food. No, I will not be ripping into a tirade on sushi, although you heathens that choose to eat raw food like that, weird as hell. We have fire for a reason. You can cook it, and it'll be okay. All right. But more to the point, and honestly, I don't have an issue with sushi. You can eat sushi if you like. That's your stomach, your mouth, your wallet. Eat what you want. Honestly, I would prefer if more people ate sushi rather than this stuff. That would be more ideal. Nutritional. That's what I want. Nutritional balance is at least with the sushi, you get some fucking protein. But do not taste the good food. Pursue the taste of good food. Yes. This is a plague in the United States as it stands right now. Good food is everywhere. And more specifically, what we mean is food that is tasty, not necessarily that it is good nutritionally. Sushi, steak, chicken, these kinds of foods closer to just cooked form, salt, pepper, basic seasonings, those are going to be better for you than, Lay's potato chips. You want to avoid this kind of stuff also because as we've recently discovered that, seed oils and such and vegetable oils and glyphosates and all these words that I could almost swear are made up, but I keep hearing them, so I'm going to guess they're somewhat true. More to the point is how it makes you think and how it starts to control your brain. Back in Musashi's days, foods didn't have additives. You went out, you got a steak. It was just going to be a steak with some salt, some pepper. That was it. Today, most of our food, or at least the stuff you get at McDonald's or the grocery store, has some sort of additive to it that makes you want to eat more of it. Monosodium glutamate, for example, which is a neurotoxin that's classified by certain countries, and it is a bona fide addictive chemical compound by some other countries' metrics and standards, and some have even banned it from their foods. But things like MSG are purposely designed to taste good, but then make you feel hungry later. That's why Chinese food never fills anybody. Tastes good, but there's almost no nutritional density to it. So that's why, or even worse, the MSG in it makes you feel hungry about what, an hour after you ate it, and you could eat another round of it. It's ultimately about having control over yourself. But we'll stick with just the dangers of it. Uh, if we look at this fine fellow, and this is just a rough example, probably not the best example, but you can find a load of these. Uh, I want you to take a minute and think about this. The creatures and animals we know today as insects, things like bees, centipedes, butterflies, just regular flies, those nuisance critters and creatures that infest food, they have been on this planet for more than 60 million years. They are so evolutionarily stable that species in more or less that form has existed for 60 million years. And you'll have this guy in a hazmat suit come by and spray your food with stuff that keeps the 60 million-year-old design from eating it and surviving on it. I just want you to take a minute and think about what the hell that's going to do to you. Uh, there's a bit of the clean eating recommendations there, because that can't be bueno. And then, of course, we're all familiar with Mr. Alex Jones and the atrazine. He's turned the fucking frogs gay. Well, that's all fun and games till you actually look into that, and then you find out that atrazine does, in fact, turn frogs gay. And that's all over your food. And then what's even worse is it doesn't get absorbed by the plant. It just washes off via the rain, gets into the water supply. Now it's in your cows. Now it's in your chickens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, all the cheap, good tasting food is going to be covered in that crap. I don't know how many of us remember working at McDonald's or Burger King or any of the fast food places. How many times y'all washed the tomatoes thoroughly for like Burger King? Because I know I didn't. I wasn't told to. More importantly than anything else, it's the way food interacts with your brain. Um, using the Chinese food again, you think about how that MSG makes you hungry again, but that carb load, that excessive corn syrup shit and everything else, you get that groggy, hungover feeling. Anything that takes away from your cognitive awareness, your ability to think, your ability to process information due to the fact that you consumed it, is going to be a net negative. That's why I don't drink. I don't drink because it takes me out of my mind frame. It takes me out of being useful and puts me into uselessness. And we have to be careful with food in the exact same way. It's like this: aspartame, sugars. I don't know about the trans fat, but this was just the best, one of the better pictured things I could find. And the way food works on us. And what I found rather interesting was, if you look at the Buddhists and their understanding of how energy works, the it's the eighth sector, or whatever they call it, basically the seat of chi. That is your stomach. And the way the Buddhists understood it is based off of what you ate, you dictated the rest of you. All of your energy, your physical energies, your mental energy, and your spiritual energy was all going to be based from your food, what you ate. If you ate poorly, you had low physical energy, spiritual, all of it's connected, right? And I think it's just funny because now we're in what, 2025, and now all these health experts are going out there saying, "Can you believe that what you eat might actually contribute to your brain?" Well, I guess the Buddhists had figured that out in sometime in the BC ADs. The Hindus had it figured out. Christians had it figured out. Jews had it figured out. Muslims had it figured out. Like all these religious groups had figured out that what you ate directly applied to your brain and how you behaved, how you thought. And now we look today, and we're finding evidence, depending on who you talk to, what medical journals you want to read, that things like schizophrenia uh, might be food related. It's like, whoa, no shit. This is why we cook our food. It's a problem today, right? Are you eating for sustenance, or are you eating for the experience? This is why I have a hard time with the sushi people. I don't think I've ever found cheap sushi that was safe to eat. Uh, I have found cheap sushi that was not safe to eat, and and after that, it's only ever expensive food. I and it's a lot of faith and trust that those people are keeping up with health and cleanliness standards, unless you go to a high end Japanese sushi place. I don't know. There's not a lot of sustenance to it. I could just cook the fish and be fine with it instead of I don't know how much a plate of sushi would be. I don't know how much this plate of sushi would be. Um, but I avoid it. Just on the costs alone, really. That's about it. And also it's raw. What the hell's the matter with you guys? Cook this. Add some fire, and it'll be fine. Um, moving on, I want to go back to talking about this poisoned food problem that we have. And anyone who wants to go out there and say, well, I understand, we do use pesticides for huge farms because there's no other way you are feasibly going to get food to market to feed people. It's eat this or starve. And it's not because the government or some NGO is out there purposely driving this. It's simply how logistics work on food. That's what it is. So I understand why this is a thing, but I would caution that maybe giant farms aren't a good idea. Maybe your homegrown farms would be a better idea, where you don't have to pesticide the hell out of it. Let this become the food for the lazy. Let this become the food for the mentally, the spiritual, and the physically lazy. Grow your own food. I understand not everyone has access to their own food. Some people are stuck with in an apartment, such like that. So be a little bit more choosy. Wash your food well, and maybe get as much of that stuff off your food as possible. Glyphosate equals cancer. Yes, it absolutely does. My wife, for those who don't know, is big into the health. Geez, excuse me. My wife is big into the health food, carnivore, glyphosates, clean eating groups of people. I'm aware of the glyphosates and their cancerous effects, and so you know. But where do you find the glyphosates? Right? They're not going to be found on your tomatoes, the tomatoes you grew. They're not going to be found in your chickens, the chickens you grew. If you can swing it, they're not going to be found in your cows. They're not going to be found in the stuff you grow. So what's the issue? Well, that's not typically the good tasting food. The good tasting food of today is not the good tasting food of yesterday. Yesterday's good tasting food in Musashi's day was all natural grown, all the good stuff. And he was cautioning people about overindulgence in foods and gluttony, the aspects of gluttony, the aspects of sloth, the fact that the shittier the food you eat, or the amount of food you eat, plays games on your brain, takes you out of a fighting mindset, takes you out of a prepared mindset, and makes you lazy. Right? No one out here is going to say, Tom, eating a dozen donuts won't do fuck all to me. If it takes you out and lays you out on the couch, it's not good thing to eat. You should feel energized after you eat. This is what the Buddhists understood. If you eat it, it should make you feel energized. It should make you feel good. It shouldn't be making you feel tired. Are you eating for sustenance, or are you eating for the experience, for the indulgence? Why is it you can eat a steak and you go, "Ugh," right? But you eat a steak and mashed potatoes and the lot, you're fine. But you add cake and ice cream in different proportions to that, and all of a sudden you're tired. Now you're done. In the same sense, eating sugary foods that may give you energy, but creates distraction, creates ADHD symptoms, or the spurg out. I don't know if I'm going to get taken down for using such words. I hope not. Even these energy drinks, and far be it from me to say I'm perfect. These are not good for me. I'm well aware. I'm not advocating for drinking energy drinks. I am working on it, and I'm slowly getting away from the energy drinks, moving on to regular coffee. When I do have coffee, I've got honey and cream in it. I know he drinks his coffee with honey and cream. Leave my cup of coffee alone. um, but yeah, we have to be careful of our foods now. Nowadays, it's poisoned. It's full of additives to make you want to eat more. Like, look at the back. Look at the back of the classic Lay's versus the back of, I don't know, any other flavor. It shouldn't. I shouldn't need a dictionary to keep up. I wish I could find my pictures. There we go. Shouldn't need a dictionary and a thesaurus to figure out what the hell's in my food, and I should be able to pronounce it pretty easily. You know, uh, it's quite entertaining to see how everything has turned out over the last few years. How many people remember the food pyramid of all things? You know, and we're finding out that having the grains, and I wish I'd gotten a picture of the food pyramid for those who don't remember it, but it had grain, like 6 to 12 servings on the bottom. So, it's like, okay, what grain? And all they ever had pictured was bleached flour nonsense. And it's like, okay, but where do donuts fit on that? Like, well, it's fine ish. Yeah, a bagel is going to be less healthy for you than something like a steak. Yeah, that's a world in which we live in. They tried to convince us of, and now they come out and say that eggs are less healthy for you than Kellogg's cereal. Go into what Mr. Kellogg was trying to do with that cereal. It was to keep you from masturbating, of all things. So yeah, Kellogg cereal tastes good, kills you. You know, that's kind of the problem with the food today. Do not pursue the taste of good food. It's dangerous to you. Someone say cornflakes means less abortions. There's a level of truth to that. Uh, but I would argue, usually right 9,000, which is a terrific YouTube name, by the way. I would argue that if you cut out all the bullshit, you might not have such people might not have such a proclivity to the bullshit behavior that leads us away from family units. And that would also mean less abortions. You know, somewhere along the line, our food became poisoned and we became shitty people. Just saying, there was a time when all French fries were cooked in tallow. And now suddenly it's like, we should cook our French fries in tallow. And you mean like we used to do before the vegans came in? I'll go back to this. If veganism was such a good idea and was such a we've evolved past, why the hell were these guys trying to kill a woolly mammoth with a sharp stick? Do you have any fucking idea how hard that would be? Anyone like take a minute and think about how thick the skin on a woolly mammoth is, and how thick the fur is, and how thick the fat would be on that thing? And our ancestors were dying to kill that because it was nutritionally dense, it was nutritionally viable. Even when we figured out farming, we were still more, as a society, as a culture, we were still geared towards meat production, chickens, cows, the bovine animal. It's no wonder the developed portions of the world, i.e., the people who figured out how to do fucking anything, also had farms like cows, right? I know this is going to sound really weird, but Asians and Europeans had figured out how to do this stuff. That's why they kind of became a more supreme ish series of cultures, and why when you go to Africa, it's a little bit rougher because their protein still required a lot more effort than ours did. We figured out how to domesticate cows. If you go to the Native Americans, now this may shock some people, but Native Americans from all the way to the South America, Central, and North are just Asians. I know! It's crazy. Genealogically, they're just Asians that moved to the Americas from the Asias via the Bering Strait when it would freeze over. That's it. And so when you look at the technological development differences between those Asians and the Native Americans, you can kind of understand and see that having viable and easy to collect protein directly impacted how we progressed as a species. It's almost a one for one comparison. And speaking as an Asian, I can say that. Sorry. When they go down into Central America, there's a lot more protein, slow moving proteins available. That's why they were able to develop things like pyramids and greater theological concepts, sacrifices, such like that. But it all stands to reason that the technological developments, the discovery of steel, manufacturing of steel, gunpowder, such like that, all is directly connected to the bioavailability of meat, protein, fatty proteins, because fatty proteins help your brain grow and help regulate your emotions so you can fucking behave. Yeah, there's a few studies on that having a higher protein diet, i.e., waking up to bacon and eggs for sustenance, not indulgence, will actually help you focus better at work, perform better at work due to the fatty proteins interacting with your brain. ADHD was not a fucking thing in the 80s and in the 70s because we weren't doing cereal. We weren't doing Mr. Kellogg and his magic wonders weren't ingrained into our body. Look at the fucking sugars. And in like Reese's Puffs, which is my favorite fucking cereal. Yes, I'm still a child. I have a favorite cereal. But that's just on your poisoned food aspect. Um, eating shitty foods, eating glyphosate ridden foods isn't good for you. It's going to kill you. It's going to put you in the grave early. And we see that with people all the fucking time. People who do things like this just stuff their faces full, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with a cheeseburger. Take the bun off, it'll be fine. I have to take it off because I can't eat gluten or wheat or whatever, probably glyphosate reaction to that my body has, but that's okay. Um, but it's very much we need to get in. You have to be in control of your eating habits. You can't be a slave to food. Do not pursue the taste of good food. And there's a lot of people. Oh, I can't go to work because on my way to work I stop at Burger King and I get the sausage, egg, and cheese every morning, and that's my favorite part of the day. Your favorite part of the day should not be fucking eating. Your favorite part of the day should be something else. Oh, I can't wait to watch the movie because then I get to have popcorn. Or hang on, I can't watch a movie or play a game or do whatever because I don't have my bowl of potato chips yet. Everyone needs to stop. That's called being a slave to food. Do not pursue the taste of good food. It should not be interrupting your day. You should be eating because you need food, you need nutrition, you need valuation in your stomach. That's it. Um, that there's a level of mental clarity into it as well, and that moves me into my third part, which is food and the brain. So I touched upon it earlier that we're seeing some symptoms of ADHD be reduced because you eat proper. We're seeing autism, autism. My goodness, autism symptoms being reduced due to a better, fattier diet. We see a lot of these things. But just as important as it is to adjust what you eat, it is also important to eat less. Maybe go a few days without eating. Um, I will go back to these Buddhists because they have the best one, because Musashi would have been a Buddhist, more than likely a Shinto Buddhist at the time. I believe he was, at least. And so we look at what they understood. They understood that, for example, if you eat a steak, it's going to have the proteins, the fats. It's going to give you raw physical energy. That's just what it does. From that raw physical energy, you gain, um, yeah, and this is like a shit example, but you gain the mental energy, right? Your ability to think, your ability to process information, right? When we're hungry, we don't think well, we get emotional. And that leads us into spiritual energy, where we're starting to think shitty thoughts about other human beings. And we start to lend ourselves into the negative headspaces of jealousy and envy and all this other crap that, honestly, I'm starting to suspect there's bigger links to this and our inner city crime, and a lot of the complaints that people who live in the inner city areas have complained about, that uh, there's not a lot of, I guess, for lack of better terms, whole foods in the inner cities. And I would agree with this. When I would go to Seattle, when you go to Seattle, you go to the ghetto or the lower income areas, count the grocery stores. When you go to Chicago, when you go to Portland, when you go to these big cities, New York, some of the most violent places in the United States, and look at uh, what's available to them. You go to it's a corner mart. You go in there, it's nothing but fucking bullshit, chips, Skittles, nonsense, fuck all. And then we go, and that's it. That's all that's available to them. Meanwhile, you go to some of the most peaceful and calm places, and sometimes even in the same fucking state. Like if you go to Ellensburg versus Seattle, Ellensburg doesn't have the same fucking issues as Seattle. They also have a lot more fucking grocery stores right there in their lowest income portion, in the lowest income portions of their town. Spokane is the same deal. It's simply because, and this is just a theory at this point for me, that shitty food, or having a lack of quality food, has a direct correlation to shitty behavior. It's what causes this. All this bad food that exists, or this good food, right? I'm sorry, if food stamps says chips are good for you, then they're probably not good for you. If the government's advocating for it at this point, it's probably not good for you. And they are advocating against steaks and shit. So I'm going to guess it's really fucking bad for you. It's also possibly low IQ people. I'm not against that. But if you want to pay attention on this, Native Americans are Asians. Asians had more readily available protein options and food options than Native Americans did, i.e., they didn't have to chase it down. They didn't have to stab a buffalo with a they had to stab a buffalo with a bow and arrow, if at all possible. IQ may or may not be, but probably is, directly related to quality of food at birth. Following along? It is low IQ people. Are low IQ people a result of bad food, or is bad food a result of low IQ people? That's the point I'm making. Again, you go, yeah. So that's kind of the issue. And it would make sense. I would say that a lot of people who do exist in the inner cities who have been who have been complaining about this might have some idea. And we are finding out that information. It's the biblical phrase, give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. It's simply that. These people just don't have good food available to them. It makes them stupid. It makes them angry. Their brains are starved for proper fucking nutrition, and they get really fucking stupid. And as they get stupid, they get fucking violent. This probably also explains a number of other continents and countries um, as a whole. You look at the technological advancement in Australia and before the British showed up versus after the British showed up. Um, and then it also explains why sub-Saharan Africa has a low IQ, because it just doesn't have. What are they going to do? Go kill an elephant? Yeah, good luck. Their government doesn't let you because they want to sell that to people to hunt. And then the hunter comes over, shoots the elephant, and then typically, if you ever look into it, they donate that meat to the sub-Saharan African tribes for them to eat. But people don't do that so much anymore because it's bad publicity here. So that's food. That's the don't pursue the taste. Do not pursue the taste of good food. Do not pursue the potato chips. It's not going to help you. Don't pursue alcohol because it takes you out of the mind frame. Anything that makes you stupid, I would avoid. Anything that's covered in whatever this guy's spraying, I would avoid. So that's kind of interesting that the Asians, the Buddhists, and probably to some extent the Christians were onto something when they were talking about the Sea of Qi, and it's direct, and what you put in has a direct effect. And we see this in fucking cars. When I was younger, I worked at a gas station. You have that guy who's got the Ferrari, that top of the line sports driven car, peak performance. What do they put in that car? What do they put in that car? It's not the 87 octane, I can tell you that much. It's that high octane fuel. It's that super clean, super hot burning fuel. That's what feeds that V8 or whatever system that car's running on. That's what feeds that engine, is the high octane, the clean shit. It's more fuel than it is water, and it's more fuel than it is water. But you take your you take your Toyota Prius, you take your Honda Accord, what you putting in that? The 87, 80 octane fuel, that's what you put in those Hondas. It's no different than people. You want to talk about low octane fuel. There's low octane fuel. There it is. Technically, it's nutrition. Technically, it's fuel. Technically. But what are you really getting out of that? You're not getting muscle out of that. You're not getting strong out of that. If you're trying to lose weight, you're not going to lose weight out of that. And that's what's funny is this is a carb. These are carbs. We all know that these are carbs. This is also fucking carbs. Well, some of it is. The rice is. It's a shit picture. I think this is more sashimi than it is sushi. But rice is carbs. So what's the difference? If rice is carbs and potato chips are carbs, hell, a baked potato is carbs. What's the difference between rice and baked potatoes and potato chips? Nutrition. Oops. Simply put, nutrition. It's the nutritional value. You're full after a baked potato. You can eat like 80 bags of potato chips and you just still be fucking hungry. Because it's not really a potato. It stopped being a potato. It's like 80% potato, 20% bullshit. So there's no reason to think that you aren't any different than your car. You should treat yourself like a Formula One race car. You should treat yourself like the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, the Bugatti. You should treat yourself that way. Eat food for sustenance, not for indulgence. Right? And it should be the best you can afford. I'm too poor to afford the cheap shit, man. I really can't afford fucking potato chips. They're like $5 a bag. You pour out the bowl. You're still, you pour it as a snack. It's supposed to tide you over to dinner. You do it, and you don't feel good after you eat it. All those bullshit motor oils that they put into it because it's cheaper and it makes the vegans happy. And don't eat to indulge, eat to sustain. That's not to say, don't enjoy a steak. Don't grill the steak to perfection. Don't use seasoning. That's not to say don't make tacos for you and your family. That's not what's being said. So don't hear that. What I'm saying is try to make it better. Try to make it cleaner. Try to make sure that the beef is, grass fed, grass finished, not just organic, because there's lots of fucking marketing hacks out there that'll fucking cheat you on that shit. It's like, it's organic. What's that mean? What does organic mean to you? Well, up until the last day of its life, we didn't give it any antibiotics. Then we gave it a fuck ton of antibiotics on the last day of its life. Okay, then that's not organic. Well, you don't know what that means. You know, develop a relationship with a butcher or a rancher. People who sell these. Buy half a cow, process it yourself. Get chickens, right? I've got chickens. I free range them so they're eating bugs and grass and whatever else out there that it is that chickens eat. I buy them bugs. They do have some grain that I feed them for the summer months because the grass just isn't growing. But I know it's in my chickens. They're happy birds. I'm not giving them antibiotics. I'm not spraying them with nothing. I'm not treating them poorly. So my eggs are nutritionally viable. And when the bird gets too old to continue lay and I go to eat it, yeah, it's probably not going to be the best tasting chicken I've ever had in my life. You got me. But I do know that it's not filled with fucking antibiotics and estrogen. We're not really looking at that new grade problem, right? All the antibiotics we feed, all the man, I'll get these words out eventually, and I will sound coherent at some point. But we stick these factory farm cows with estrogen and a fuck ton of it, so that they produce more milk and get fat. Then we butcher it and then we eat it. And now we got estrogen as men, we got estrogen in us. How many more studies do we have to look at where it's like, oh, did you know that the average 20-year-old today has the same testosterone count as a 70-year-old? That's not a good thing. Testosterone today should be through the fucking roof, and yet it's not. And yet we're more violent and stupid than ever. I think we can safely put aside the whole testosterone equals stupid problem. I would say that we actually have a lack of testosterone, and that's leading to the stupid problem. Oh, antibiotics are absolutely overused. I just stabbed myself with a screw a couple days ago, not on purpose. Not on purpose. It was an accident. Had a small infection, nothing over the top. I just ate a clove of garlic twice a day, once at morning, once at night. My breath smelled like shit, but that's what garlic does. That's all I did. First of all, it's free or close to free. It's garlic. It's really good for you. It's also one of the most powerful antibiotics. And here's the other fucked up little thing about antibiotics. Um, Garlic doesn't kill the good bacteria in you. Those high grade ones that the doctor absolutely would have prescribed me will kill the good bacteria, leading me to probably more illnesses, sickness, and such like that. Totally roast my immune system. The garlic works with it. So, and the only reason anyone's breath smells bad after they eat garlic is because that's what dead bacteria smells like, and garlic. If you eat garlic for like a month straight, your breath stops stinking. That's the fun part, because you finally hit that point of low bad bacteria in your system. But yeah, I just ate some garlic. Infection cleared right up. Hands healing fine. I don't need over the top antibacterial, antibiotic, nuclear weapons. I need precision strike that garlic is. But yeah, this is the problem. When we pursue these cheap, good tasting foods, we're not. It's not just that we're nutritionally starving our brains, right? There's a reason why emotional regulation in young adults is at all-time lows. There's a reason why behavior is at all-time lows. ADHD symptoms, all-time highs. Autism, all-time highs. All this stuff, all-time high. What can we safely say? Well, the food didn't get me better. It certainly has gotten shittier. And so it's probably a good guess that people aren't eating healthy foods, aren't eating clean foods. They're eating for indulgence, not sustenance. And then of course, the cereals are out there. Oh, we got 15% of your iron. Really? Do you? From where and how much? It's a lie, of course. And you can also get that iron from your eggs. You get it from your steaks, which is all far more nutritionally dense. You'll actually feel full. I've yet to meet the bodybuilder that says, yeah, I ate about 12 bowls of cereal a day. That's how I got super strong. Usually you hear them say, I ate steak and eggs and only steak and eggs. Sometimes I ate chicken with some rice. Like that seems to be the four staples, which, wouldn't you know it, is also the four staples of not so much bullshit in the food. Four staples of what you grow yourself. So that's that. Food is important. What we eat matters. What you don't eat, what you put in matters. It turns into everything else. And I'm willing to wager, this is more the theology. Oh my God, today words, theological. There we go. Aspect of it is it leads to godlessness. These low nutrition, low IQ individuals, they start to stray from God, even though they claim that they follow. How many of them you ever see actually go to church, do good works? No, they're too busy robbing everybody and hurting each other. Why? They're starving, literally starving. You can eat all the potato chips and cereal and candy and shit you want. It's technically calories, but it's none of the minerals, the vitamins, the proteins that you need to become strong, to be smart, to think. It's all stimulants. That's the other problem, is half our food today is just filled with fucking stimulants. Don't worry, it's not sugar, it's aspartame. Don't worry, it's not aspartame, it's give me a second. Just read this can of nonsense I'm drinking. Yes, I know. Shouldn't drink these. I do. Working on it. Make myself better one day. I will become better. I'm already down. Just one a day today. And it's been that way for the last 4 months now. So I'm making some progress, but let's see. We just look at the stimulants: Carnipure, L-carnitine, Tarate, taurine. It's all stimulants. It's all meant to taste good, give you this awake effect. I just do it so that I have something to wet my whistle when I talk on a live stream. Tastes good. I wouldn't say I pursue it. I would say that it's just something that tastes good. And let's see here. A lot natural caffeine. Thank God there's natural caffeine in this. I can tell you I'm going to go drink some water after this so that I have regular H2O with nothing else in it. I don't even want to get started on hydration levels. It's a bad spot when you can't even trust the water you drink anymore. Here in Tacoma, which is where I live, shocker, our water tests high for arsenic, lead, and other such minerals that you would think that my tax dollars and water utility bill would pay for them to stop doing, but they basically said, here it is, and there's nothing we can do about it. Enjoy your poison water. Thankfully, it's not poison water, so I'm not getting dysentery from water, but I had to go out and I had to invest in reverse osmosis water filters, and they are worth the investment. We kind of established that lead had a direct relation to aggression back in, I want to say, the 80s or the 70s. That's why we have unleaded gasoline, vaporized leaded gasoline, and aggression. There was almost one for one direct causation. We got rid of it, violence went down. Now we have lead in our water because Democrat shitholes are Democrat shitholes. They don't upkeep the infrastructure. Now there's lead in the water again, and here comes the aggression. So now we got uh, low IQ, nutritionally starved, filled with lead individuals, and then we go, I can't believe they're so violent. I can't believe they're only this violent. So, yeah, there it is. Do not pursue the taste of good food. Don't eat food that's just going to make you tired. Don't eat food that's going to take you out of it. You got to be you have to fuel yourself. Treat yourself like what you are. None of this, well, I'm a Honda Accord. No, you're fucking Maserati, you're fucking Ferrari. Treat yourself like that. You know, don't take this shit off yourself, and don't take this shit off these people who only care about your buck. Eat better, eat clean. Nobody ever sat there and said, I changed my diet, I started eating clean, the world got clear, the world got crisp, I was able to be happy again, and said that was a bad thing. I stopped eating McDonald's every fucking day and I just became miserable. Nobody's ever said that and meant it. You know, that it's all over the fucking place. These fucking people and their food. Like I said, I'm too poor to afford the cheap shit. I can't afford uh, McDonald's. You guys have even seen that? Has anyone seen how much McDonald's costs today? Go to the steakhouse. It's the same cost. Holy shit. I tried to feed my family at McDonald's, and you can make it, you can swing it, but if you try to do the meals and the sizes that are typical, it's might as well just go to the steakhouse or go to the grocery store. You buy the exact same amount of steak, probably more, for less. Propane tank is $25 for replacement. Grill's not that expensive. Throw the steak on the grill, take it off the grill, eat it. What about my French fries? Get some fucking tallow. You also, this is a little culinary trick. I save my bacon grease. Like our predecessors did. During the Depression and shit, and before then. Every morning when I cook bacon, I save over the grease. I've got a whole bunch of glass jars filled with bacon grease. You take that out, you throw it in a pot, heat it up to an appropriate temperature, cut up a potato. There you go. You have French fries as God intended. Violent, dumb, yeah, you're correct. They are easy targets. They're easy to control. Yes, it's supposed to make you dumb. This is why everything is by design. If we're following what Musashi was more than likely prescribing, he did not want you to be a fucking victim, and he damn sure didn't want you to be a slave. You look at the phrase Dokudo, which is the path of aloneness. You can't be an alone individual if you are dependent on the government to give you everything. Right? I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure if I need the government to give me clean water, which I don't have, clean food, which I don't have. Oh, well, then I probably should stop depending on the government. Maybe eat right, lift weights, do, buy the water filtration system so that I have clean water. Fuck, I collect my own fucking rainwater, and I treat that myself through filters and iodine, such like that. The low grade stuff that you have to do to get the water clean enough to drink. I do that all my fucking self at this point. There's very little I trust the government to do. I've pointed out, like, people are upset that houses are so expensive. I say, well, yeah, because who assesses the value of a house? It's not the marketplace, right? That's why we have $200,000 houses in the middle of Seattle selling for $1 million. It's not the marketplace. The marketplace didn't decide that valuation. The tax assessor did. The tax assessor evaluated that dirt and that house and that shack for that amount of money. And wouldn't you know it, who pays the tax? Where the taxes go? You know, we need rent control. No, we need tax control. That's what we really fucking need. We need the government, the state, to stop taxing houses so fucking high and so fucking much. That would cause rent to go down, not up. But again, they're all too busy eating their soy-fed, soy leche bullshit, McGraw, fucking filled with sugar, 12 pumps of nonsense, snack wrap. I don't know. I know there's some sort of fancy food out there that I've just described, but I don't know what it is because every time I go out to eat, it's just give me a cheeseburger without the bun or give me a steak. And that's if I even go out to eat anymore because, like I said, it's too fucking expensive. That's money that could be spent on ammunition and classes, right? Like, if for no other reason, you all should go to the grocery store to buy the healthy food, the right food, so that you have more money for training, so that you have more money for gas masks, so that you have more money for, I don't know, MREs, stuff that matters. Don't waste your money on nonsense food that's not doing anything for you. I probably should have added this as a fourth point, but your fourth point is don't pursue the taste of good food because it's fucking expensive and it takes away from your ability to buy the shit you actually fucking need. Ammo is only going to get more expensive. I I don't know who's seen it or who hasn't. The Department of ICE and Border Patrol are dropping the SIG and they're buying up Glocks. Okay. Now you say, "Oh, Tom, are you going to go on some anti-SIG thing?" Nope. No, I don't care. I don't care about SIGs or Glocks or anything. That's just stuff. What I do care about is that when ICE and Border Patrol do that, they have to go get requalified with all those Glocks because it's a governmental agency. And that means that they're going to spend a lot of money buying up 9mm ammunition, which they will buy out of the marketplace. And if that goes a little bit further to the point that the Army, Marines, Navy, and Air Force all decide to drop the SIG pistols, because the contract that the Army had with SIG was for the gun and the ammunition. And the Army being the Army, they are going to go and have to get everybody qualified with the SIG, even though it's, or with whatever their replacement gun will be, even though that's retarded. You should be able to pick up any fucking gun and be qualified. But the Army being the Army, they're going to have to requalify everyone with the new pistol. The ammo deal that they made with SIG means that they won't use that ammo anymore. So they'll buy up a whole bunch from federal or from whatever. So that'll cause an ammo shortage. And you would say, but Tom, they could just use the SIG ammo because it's 9mm, or they could resell that SIG 9mm ammo back into the populace. It's the Army. They don't do that. They will just destroy millions and millions and millions of rounds of 9mm because they have to switch. So ammo is going to get more expensive here if this trend with ICE dropping the SIG continues. Likely Glock will be the replacement. It already was for ICE and Border Patrol, which means Glocks will get more expensive if it goes up any higher. It's just going to overall suck. And some people think it's a good idea to spend that money that they could use for that ammunition now so that their stocks are good now. They think it's a good idea to go and buy McDonald's. So that's the other reason. Don't buy the potato chips because they're fucking useless for you anyways. Go buy that fucking extra magazine. Go buy that ammunition. Go buy that gun. Go buy that thing. Go buy the gym equipment, the weights, the whatever it is you need to use. What is it? $30 will buy you a 30-pound weight that you can use to get physically stronger, right? That's what this comes down to. Spend the money, by the way, if you do go and spend that money on ammunition, I would suggest ammosupplywarehouse.com. I didn't write down their thing because I didn't think I was going to mention them today, but there it is. They're my friends. They sell ammunition and magazines. So take your fast food money and give it to them so you can have ammunition and magazines. Make yourself stronger, harder to kill. So I have gone over all my talking points. Now I just have to do these shameless plugs. Just plug my own stuff, Ashgar Defense. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, the Facebooks, or the Twitchies, then you know where I am, what I am, and what I'm doing. If you don't happen to live on the West Coast, which I have found out most of my audience does not live on the West Coast, I will be as close to the East Coast, or at least the East Coast time zone, in August. Yes, August. My goodness. August 4th to August 5th, I'll be teaching my class Stabbas and Stubbas. This is not technically. Some people have asked me if it's a beginner class. I would not consider this a beginner's class. I would consider it a everybody class. I think everyone can gain something from it. Let's see here. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, I understand. It doesn't have to tickle your fancy. But this one might. This one is what I would consider much more advanced class. So if you're looking for an advanced class, no, you do not have to take Stabbas and Stubbas to take this class. You could just sign up for this class. This is BBB, Bedroom Bedside Bullshit. I fixed the times on it today too. Or whatever other collection of 3Bs you want to put together. But it's BBB. And it is what you do is fighting from your bed to your front door and everything in between. So there you go. There's the shameless plugs. And I've had my little QR code over there. I can move it. What's this other option? Replace. Oh, I could. Well, that's weird. Anyways, yeah, there you go. Stabbas and Stubbas. QR code. BBB QR code. Let's see. Make sure I've gone through all my notes. I've gone through all my notes. Food in the brain, poison food. Do not pursue the taste of good food. It matters. What you eat matters. It also, there's a psychological reason to it too. You eat shitty food, you get shitty results. Oh, someone scanned the QR code. I hope I left it up long enough. And it doesn't tell me which one. Anyways, there's an emotional there's a psychological piece. You eat shitty food, you're going to feel like shit about yourself. If you spend your life eating pig slop, you're going to feel like a pig, right? And I'm going to tell you, none of you are pigs. None of you are as low as you could ever think. You just got to treat yourself like that. We see those posts all the time, treat yourself king or whatever. That's true. When you disparage yourself, the warrior inside you weeps. Simply that. I don't remember where I heard that quote from, but that's kind of stuck with me. You shouldn't disparage yourself, and that means eat well. Again, treat yourself like a Ferrari, Lamborghini Gallardo. Treat yourself like treat yourself well. Eat the good food, drink the water, get plenty of sleep. Do the things that you need to make yourself better. Don't worry about anything else. And don't eat shitty food. So there you go. That's all I've got. Any questions, comments, concerns, opinions, or criticisms? Or cynicisms. Those also work. I'll just click through some QR codes here. Give everyone a minute. Because I have to go better myself, hit the gym, and eat dinner at some point. And it will probably be, I don't know. I hadn't thought of what I was going to have for dinner. Shit. That was the biggest challenge for me growing up, is trying to figure out what I want to eat for dinner every night. I don't have parents to tell me what to eat anymore. I might include some rice, though. I'm feeling like eating some rice. No? All right. Well, you all have, excuse me. Well, you all have a wonderful night.